Alrighty guys, welcome back to another episode of Ready or Not. This one's going to be following up on the very last firearm of the stories of Los Sueños. And this is going to be for the secondary, which honestly is going to be the lamest one of them all. So that's why I did it last. And it's going to be the pepper launcher handgun. Now, this is the less than lethal option that you're able to get, the only less than lethal secondary in the game as of right now. Now, there's other options in the game, like the actual grenade launcher, which I discussed on the episode prior to this. You have yourself the beanbag shotgun primary, your TPL SMG, which is oddly enough still only semi-automatic, alongside the assault rifle, which is the VPL 25, which is also semi-automatic. So, one thing for all the primary and secondary pepper ball launchers, they're all semi-automatic. There is no full automatic, obviously, through that, which is kind of strange, and I think it's a little bit limiting, and it doesn't make it as fun. But that's one thing to note worth a bunch of people if you're going to be thinking you're going to have a little bit of a different time with this. Or it's going to be acting exactly like other rifles or primaries. I think the only other exception would be like, the beanbag shotgun, which is pump action. So that's arguably worse. But this gun is pretty interesting. It has a very small magazine size. I think that's only 6 actually, smaller than I thought. Yeah, so 6. I knew it was really short. So you only have 6 rounds in this magazine at a time, so that's one major drawback. However, what's cool about the pepper balls for the SMG, the rifle, and the handgun itself is that you don't really need to land direct hits on the target. You can shoot next to them, and it shoots that gas and pepper up into the air around the target. So even if you do miss them and hit the surface next to them, you will apply the status effect. But you do need to hit them a couple more times in order to apply that kind of hard-hitting effect, opposed to using your SMG or your rifle on them, or the rifle equivalents to that. So it is very limiting, but it is your secondary option for less than lethal. If you do run out for your primary, if you're trying to go for an S rank, and that's really the only actual specialized use case that you would ever use this weapon in. Unlike the shotgun, it doesn't shoot beanbags or anything actually too solid or massive enough to do major bodily harm to people. So it doesn't matter if you hit them in the head, you hit them in the arm, crotch, wherever the hell you want to really shoot at, they won't take lethal damage. So no matter what, you can't always guarantee that you will not kill your target or your engaged target, which is fine. I think I like it a little bit. It just gives people a little bit more flexibility to your handgun. There's not really a whole lot to write home about with this thing. It is a secondary, I guess. The profile to the firearm itself is very compact, so you don't necessarily need to worry about it breaking your or forcing you into low ready or high ready with the handgun itself, and very close engagement situation, so it's a little bit more flexible in that sense. But that's really about it. It doesn't do anything too crazy. It has about the same fire rate as the SMG and rifle version. Again, they're all semi-automatic, so it doesn't really do anything different in that sense either. It has a laser sight to it. That's really about it. I can't really say much more about this whole thing aside from the major drawback of it only having 6 rounds in there, and that's not necessarily something that makes it any better. So arguably, I would just say this is a worse version of its primary counterparts in just about every single way. But it's in its own different slot, so do with that information as you will. But yeah, that's a TPL secondary handgun. Definitely not something I'll be using a whole lot. Your primary SMG, the rifle, wherever the hell that is, up there will do the job just fine for both of those, and they have larger pepper balls that shoot out of them. So even then, when you're missing targets, they will actually cover a larger area than the handgun itself with that kind of status effect. So even that is better done by these guns. And the beanbag shotgun, usually if you land a direct body shot, not to the head, because that will result in lethality there, But if you do shoot them in the upper chest or just the midsection of their body, you normally can get a suspect to surrender in about one shot, maybe two, if they're wearing body armor. That's the only drawback to the beanbag shotgun. But yeah, that's the secondary TRPL handgun. Just gives some flexibility to the player. I see why they want to add it to the game and why it deserves its own slot, but I don't really find myself using this over any of the other ones or over the primary options that you swap to. I think that's probably just for people that are using more utility-based weapons like the grenade launcher or the breech shotgun or anything along those lines of like how many things you want to carry or like put your slots or unit slots or gear pieces somewhere else. And if you are just low on ammunition for your primary, that will always be like a backup option if you're not confident in yourself. So I see what it's used for. I would think it's more so for inexperienced players or just players that are not necessarily as skilled with their firearms to begin with. So yeah, I guess again there is players that will be using it. I just don't think I'm one of them. But that's going to be the whole role that the TRPL fills. So let me know what you guys think about this down in the comments. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one.